All right, the next form I'm going to hit is this guy here. I've stepped up my pencils to using an HB and an F. I'm going to put those over here. Put all my pencils over here. I'm down to using only 6 pencils now, or up to using 6 pencils now. So I finished this large sphere that is wedged into 1, 2, 3 different forms. And now I'm going to apply this guy. So I'm just going to fill it in, this whole blue shape that is exposed. So whenever you apply a value to a cone form, figure out where the light source is coming from. In this case, it's coming from this direction. So this right around here, actually, let me just draw this out. Here's the cone, right? So right around here is going to be the strip of light. That's going to be your 1 value. This will be a 2 value. Right around here is going to be about another 2. Right around here is going to be a 3. Right around here is going to be a 4. And right around here is going to be a 3, maybe a /2. So it gets darker here, lighter here, mid-tone here. That's the idea. All right. So, as I said before, let me use this and cover that. I'm using this piece of paper now so I don't smudge my work that I've already smudged, and I'm trying to be more careful. Why do all the work when you have to go back and relayer it? I don't want to do that. So right now I'm just filling in the exposed part, not the part that's wedged inside. However, that is transparent, and you can still see the lines from the wax pencils or color pencils, whatever you want to call them. I personally like applying value to these curvilinear forms because it instantly creates volume, and it's a more complex form than something geometric. Geometric to me is kind of, I love geometric forms, but applying value to a geometric plane is boring compared to applying value to a curvilinear plane. So therefore, so far, I just kind of applied an even tone to this whole form, and I'm going to do it again in a different direction. And the reason I'm doing a different direction is because it just evens out the direction of the graphite that I'm putting it in with, so it doesn't look like it's strong in one direction, and it will even out the tone application eventually so it seems flat and not have striations in it. Alrighty, so far that part of it is done, and now I'm going to start to think about the cone, or the shadow of the cone. So that's this area here. So it starts, everything kind of tapers to a point, and it gets wider here at the bottom because it's the shape of the form. So what I'm going to do is quickly I'm just going to add with my 4H pencil. I'm just going to do a quick little layer of value, just going up in that one area all the way up. That's enough. Now I'm going to get my 3H because that's probably the most I can do with my 4. And this is in a slightly different direction. Now I'm starting to try to fade it out at the bottom and on the side. Because if you apply too much value or too much weight in the beginning and then you try to get that first layer in there, it's going to be really hard to fade out. That's why I just work with light layers. It's easier for me to add another layer and fade out from the coarse shadow. This is probably the last layer of the 3. H3 is what I meant. All right, now I'm going to jump to my 2H. And this coarse shadow is getting a little wider, and the transition value, meaning the midtones, is casting a wider net as well. So it's starting to climb up this part here, and that's what gives it the volume. I'm going to do a little quick value right here, as this is going to be slightly darker than the lightest part. Okay. All right, H. gets smaller as it goes up top, so it's hard to make smaller marks. So you can see it's starting to form. You can see now that the value is taking place. It's getting a little darker down here, and I just constantly go back down to this bigger shape where the value is darker, and I just continuously fade it in. I put another layer on, then I fade it into what it exists. And as I fade it in, it gets everything else darker. So it's just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more each time. And again, you want your reflected light. It's going to happen. I think I might use one step darker, meaning I'm going to go to my F pencil after this. Just going to fade this in just a little bit more. Just careful not to make that too dark, otherwise it's going to cover the highlight part. So I'm just trying to leave the highlight the way it is. Now I can put a nice core in. And it's going to make the midtones look more of like a midtone. It's going to make the highlight look more like a highlight. And it's going to make the reflected light more pronounced. It's easy to end up with this looking monotone. So that's why you really want to layer and layer until you get that nice base. To get the range of value. All right, I'm happy with the bottom part. You can see it's definitely darker down there. And oops. Now I'm trying to make a little bit more pronunciation, or you may have heard the word articulate. It's just trying to model the top part of this cone a little bit more so it reflects the same structure as the bottom. And if it ever looks uneven, like right here, there seems to be this darker kind of shape for some reason. Maybe because I overlapped it. I also have this. So I'm just gonna try to like fade that in so it doesn't look like a weird, or fill in around it so everything evens out is basically what I'm doing. Not really fading it. Fading it would be more I'm smearing it. I'm not smearing it, I'm just filling it out so it has the illusion that I actually faded or smeared it. All right. Now I'm gonna go get my hard pencil again, and I'm really trying to figure out this little sliver here. And I kind of wish my light value was a little bit bigger, and I can go back and do that, or I can make my core a little bit darker. I think I'll do that. By making a core a little darker, you make everything else, as I said before, everything else around it appear lighter. All right, I think I'm getting my volume that I've been trying to achieve, and I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. You know what? I can't. I've got to make this slightly darker. I can't stop. Once you get started, and you just want to push it a little more, a little more, a little more, and then there's a point where you're just done. All right. We're on the spot. Okay, I'm done. Next I will do is probably that little sphere, and then I'll hit the geometric forms.